Meg Whitman, former eBay CEO and perhaps the next governor of California. Welcome back to the Kudlow Report.
Happy to be here, Larry.
All right, great. Meg, look, let me just start. The big story today, world stock markets continue to crash, turmoil everywhere. People are talking about a double dip in the recovery. You may be the next governor of the 8th largest economy in the world. What are you thinking about this stock market and the decline? And what are you thinking about California? Was there ever a recovery in the Golden State?
Well, there hasn't been a recovery yet. And I think the biggest issue facing California, and quite frankly, Larry, facing the country, is unemployment. California has a 12.6% unemployment rate, the third highest in the country, and it has been high for a long time now. And just to personalize that, that is 2.3 million Californians without a job. And I promise you, unless we put Californians back to work, and by extension, Americans back to work, there's no way out of this mess.
Well, let's go there. What are your plans to create jobs in California?
Well, first, I want to do a series of targeted tax cuts that give employers the confidence to go ahead and hire. For example, I want to eliminate the factory tax, which we're one of only 3 states where manufacturers have to pay a sales tax on the equipment they buy to manufacture in California, and we've lost 600,000 manufacturing jobs since 2000. I want to eliminate what I call the startup tax. Before you do anything to start a new business, you got to pay the state an $800 LLC fee. I want to eliminate the state capital gains tax. We're one of a handful of states around us that, has a very high state capital gains tax. And I want to increase the R&D tax credit from 15% to 20%. That will give employers the confidence to hire. Then I want to streamline regulation. Regulation is strangling businesses of all sizes in California. I want to put a moratorium on all new regulations. Let's stop the music and make sure that we are as streamlined as we can possibly be. And then California has to stand up and compete for jobs, and I will be the chief sales officer for California companies.
If I'm not mistaken, tell me if this is right or wrong. You took the no tax hike pledge from Grover Norquist's Americans for Tax Reform. Is that true?
That is true. I am 100% against tax increases on hardworking Californians. We are overtaxed. That is not the issue. The issue is we are not running the government efficiently. So we've got to cut $15 billion of spending from the state budget, which we can do. And frankly, I believe it will make California stronger, not weaker.
What are you going to do? You got a $20 billion budget hole, the deficit in California. So a lot of people think Greece has come to California and that Cal's going to wind up going bankrupt. How can you deal with this $20 billion budget hole?
Well, like every family in California, like every business in California, when your revenues go down, what do? You have to cut costs. And I have a plan to cut $15 billion worth of cost out of the budget. First is we have to shrink the number of employees that work for the state. We've got to get our arms around the Public Employee Service Union unfunded pension liability, which will sink California unless we fix that. We've got to reform our welfare program. We are the welfare state in many ways, Larry. We've got 12% of the U.S. population, 32% of the welfare cases. And then we've got to do what businesses do every day. We have to use technology to do more with less. We've got to use technology to find the fraud and the mismanagement in the system. And I can tell you we got a lot of it in the state of California, and I'm going to get after it.
You know, talking about the pensions and the government unions, the SEIU has been attacking you. I believe they're running ads. Jerry Brown, your perhaps opponent for governor, has also been attacking you. That's all pretty rare for them to intervene in a Republican primary. Is that going to be war, hand-to-hand combat to curb the excesses of the government salaries and the government worker pensions?
Well, politics is a tough business, and I can tell you that Jerry Brown and the Democrats and the unions know that I will take on the status quo in Sacramento. I will take on the unions. I will take on the fact that we are not spending taxpayer dollars like it is our own. And so they would like me to lose this primary. There's no question about it, and they're lining up behind my opponent because they know he's the weaker candidate in the general election in November. We've got a very good chance to beat Jerry Brown, and we are going to do it by taking on the status quo. Californians are fed up with the liberal status quo Sacramento politicians.